this is my guide to taking care of an Australian white tree frog, how to handle it and what to use to take care of these kinds of frogs. First off, what we're going to start off with is just talking about the kind of frog. If you're planning on getting this type of frog, I would recommend watching this video fully, because I'm going to explain a lot in this video, which is probably going to be very helpful if you're starting to get your frog like I was a few months ago. I know nothing about frogs a few months ago. Now I know a little bit, so I'm hoping to share this little bit of information I learned and gathered to you guys. First, white tree frogs, the kind of frog I have, and I will show you him. He is currently a little sleeping, so put that up. Here we are. Yeah, there he is. But anyways, Australian white tree frogs tend to be very calm, or they can be a little hyper, but they're not the type of frog to bite you or jump, continuously just jump every time they see movement. I mean, some might do that, but they're pretty much calm and good to handle if you ever need to handle them. I'll get into that later. Yeah, they're good starter frogs. And I'm not an expert at frogs, obviously, so as this guy is my starter frog, I think he has done me pretty good. And if anyone needs to correct me in this video, that is fine. Oh my gosh, this heater thing keeps falling though, so I'm gonna just remove this and get it later. So this is the third time it's fallen today, and I don't want Dumpy to get into it, so I'm just gonna remove the entire thing. And yeah, it's kind of dirty now. So I won't know the heat, but I kind of got an idea, so we're good. Anyways, yeah, I'll give you, this tank was just added. So this is brand new, so I will be giving you tips that aren't in this cage, because this is again brand new. In his old tank, I ran out of supplies to provide him, and yeah. So first thing I start off with is the lighting, the things that keep the frog pretty good. The first thing is, this is my light right now. This is very small for this tank, because his old tank right here is clearly smaller, as you can see, and yeah, it was very small, a water bowl and a tree, and that was it. So yeah, I would recommend getting a better environment than this cage. It was just our last option at the time, so yeah. But looking at this thing right here, this is not a good frog light, and I'll tell you why. What I used on one of the bulbs, which is the heat light right here, this is the UV light, and this is the heat light. This is a red light, and that is not good for frogs. So what we're gonna be doing is removing that next time when we get our tank, our lights in tomorrow. So I would not recommend getting lights, but you will need a heat lamp and a UV light. You're gonna need those two things specifically to keep your frog nice warm and getting UV rays, because that's what the frog needs to survive. But the red light is not dangerous, it's just not good. Okay, keep that in mind, because I've had that light since I got him, and there hasn't been any issues until I learned it was bad for him. So looking into his tank here, what you're gonna see is a lot of climbing things, and you see how this tank has height and not length. You want the tank to be up, not this way. You do not, absolutely, if you're gonna get a frog, never ever put a frog in a sideways, vertical tank. That is very bad for frogs and can make them, it's just abuse. It's straight up abuse. You do not want to do that. You want to have more tallness than wideness, and you want to do that because frogs like to climb up. They don't like to move around this way. They like to go up, and if they can't go up, it's just they feel very enclosed and very stressed. So you want an up tank. Even this tank right here, his old tank, goes more up than sideways, so he doesn't feel trapped. But this one goes more up too, so this is a better environment. This tank I got at PetSmart for like over $100. Really good for a starter. You don't have to get this specific tank. You can, if you're gonna get one frog, this is okay tank. It's at Petco. It's okay, but I would not recommend this. This I would recommend because it's got a lot of good stuff. So yeah. Anyways, I'm kind of losing track. What I use to keep his tank moist, because frogs, what they like is a warm and humid environment. So you got the heat lamps, and then you're gonna want to spray your frog every once in a while. Once the humidity thing gets low, you want to just spray it, the tank, and it's a little moist. Or if you can get a humidifier right there, they can humid it. But yeah, that's kind of how you do it. But you're gonna need to treat water. So basically you can put these, you're gonna like 3 or 4 drops into the water thing, then you can spray it just to remove any bad chemicals in the water. That is very necessary. Please make sure you do that. Also make sure the frog has a lot of stuff. As you can see, I have some vines, climbing things, all for the frog. That thing, all for the frogs to just kind of chill and climb on, because frogs love climbing. Yeah, that's the first start. And then for feeding, it's very simple. You can hand feed, but not with your hands. You're gonna want to use tweezers. You can grab your cricket, silkworm. You're gonna have to do your research on food, because I cannot name all the foods you can give a frog on the top of the list. But silkworms and crickets are good food, and earthworms can be a good food source. You can use some worms for treats, but I would recommend crickets or silkworms. That's my big recommendation. I personally use crickets because they're really cheap, and they're like $1 for like 15, and that's about how many he eats. These tweezer thingies right here are basically just put up to his mouth, he'll eat it. He's very calm frog. So. And then you put this, I put Reptisive, it's just reptile vitamins, onto the frog, just to make sure he gets all his vitamins, because I don't want him to like die, you know. So that's kind of, and then handling. The last part of this video will be about handling frogs. Let me just say this straight up. If you want a frog, you're not going to be able to handle them every day or most days. That is because they're very sensitive on their skin. Their skin is super sensitive. And like hand sweat can sometimes kill a frog. So the chemicals on your hands can be tremendous and do horrible effects to a frog. So I would never recommend touching them with your bare hands. I would recommend washing them. If you're gonna touch them with your bare hands, washing them really good. Don't use soap and then add treating onto your hands. Even then, I'd be very careful while handling the frog. That is just, yeah. Or in a very better way to handle it is use gloves, which I have in this little container on my frog. So if I need to pick them up at any point, I can do that with gloves. So I recommend using gloves 100% of the time when picking them up. I would never recommend using your bare hands because their skin is very sensitive. And another thing with that is don't catch things outside and feed it to your frog, or don't take things outside and put it in their tank. That is a very big one, I'd like to say, because you do not know what's in your lawn, especially if you live in like the city areas. you do not know if pesticides were put in that, so it could be deadly to your frog. So I would never recommend doing that either. Buy your frog food, and if you're gonna get a rock, buy it, because if pesticides got on it, I don't want him to touch something toxic. So all this is store-bought and then treated with water soaked in. I soaked this in water for a few minutes, so it was just treated like that. It's doing its job, so yeah. And that's all you have to know about getting your frog. Good luck, and hope you get a frog and you enjoy it. If you do get a frog, maybe this video shows that you don't want them. I don't know. But yeah, enjoy your little frog there. Yeah. Okay, bye. Yeah. Bye.